Good morning, guys. Oh, today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there in YouTube land and across the world. I know not every country celebrates Thanksgiving, but in America we do. But I'm saying happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Anyway, just because I want to. It is a beautiful, bright, sunny day. Clear skies as always. Actually, it looks like there's those real thin, wispy like clouds in the sky. You know, the real thin ones that don't have any kind of threat to them whatsoever, but they're just beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started. How to stop binging or purging. First of all, understand that you do not have a disease and that you are not physiologically addicted to specific foods you binge on. For example, some diet counselors would have you believe that eating a simple carbohydrate will trigger an uncontrollable binge. That is not true. That honestly isn't true, seriously. And I'll tell you, it's not because of me, all right? Yesterday we celebrated Thanksgiving early because, you know, hubby goes to work today. And so like my mother-in-law, she's doing the Ray Down. Now, it used to be, before she was doing the Ray Down, that she tried to avoid sugar by all means. She's diabetic herself. And she tried to avoid sugar by all means because if she would eat just one little bit of sugar or carb, it would cause her to want it all day long. She would start craving it for a long time and have a hard time stopping. I know several people who are like that they get started eating a carb or sugar and they can't stop. So my mother-in-law was the same way. And yesterday at the dinner table she told me, because she had some pie, she had some pecan pie, and plus the ribs, she had fixed brisket with rib in. And she had made a brown sugar barbecue sauce to go with it. So with the barbecue sauce and the pecan pie she had, that was a lot of sugar for her. And she said, "That's enough sugar for me. Don't want no more." She said, "I used to, when I would eat something like this, I'd end up craving sugar all day long." She said, "Now I don't." She said, "I can eat sugar and I don't want it for the rest of the day. I'm fine. I know my limits now with the sugar and I don't need any more once I get a little." So that is God, folks. That is God taking care of her and her needs where she's at. That is a wonderful testimony. So saying that carbs and sugars is a trigger food isn't true. As long as you lay your trust and hopes and focus on God, He will remove that from you. And you can be victorious over it. My mother-in-law is one. I'm one. I don't crave sugars anymore. I can go a meal without eating any. I guess for one, like, yeah, I do eat pastas. I do eat potato type stuff. And on occasion, on a meal, I'll have a dessert, but not all the time. On occasion, on a meal, I'll have a Coke, not all the time. I am fine. I don't need sugar all the time. And it sure doesn't cause me to crave it the rest of the day if I eat one, if I eat a candy or anything. I incorporate all into a meal, and I'm fine. So yeah. There are addictions, however. It has been assumed all these years that addictions to tobacco, alcohol, drugs, or caffeine are only physiological and psychological. It is a fact that alcoholics will sometimes experience delirium tremens when derived of alcohol. But reconsider for one moment. The body compensates the best it can to accommodate carbon monoxide or extra food or anything else that is harmful. But the body welcomes the reversal of harmful habits. In other words, your lungs do not want more smoke. Your thighs do not want more fat. The liver does not want more alcohol. We propose, rather, the majority of the addiction is a heart or spiritual addiction. Withdrawals are equally the product of the feeling of the separation of your heart from love and the substance. It is analogous to trying to take a 15-month-old out of the arms of its mother. Your dependent spirit is addicted to the love of the substance, and letting go of food or tobacco will really be hard and emotionally difficult unless you simultaneously replace that dependence with clinging on to God. People who have been addicted to drugs for 30 years have had the experience of finding God and the accompanying ability to stop using the drugs. In the case of food, we believe that it is only a spiritual addiction. Years of dieting breeds the starve, binge, purge cycle. You want to lose weight. You start a diet, starving yourself of both calories and the foods you like. When you reach the point that you cannot take it anymore, you throw in the towel and binge. You feel guilty for the binge, so you purge to correct the binge. The purge is an attempt on your part to eliminate from your system the calories that you took in from the binge or food that you have been led to believe is bad for you or too high in fat. Purging takes many forms. Some examples are vomiting, which is bulimia, fluid pills, which is diuretics, laxatives, or exercise. Do you not see that all of these actions are the results of your trying to fix everything? Your path is destructive, and with every step you take, you are forced to try to undo what you just did. And what you just did was supposed to have been the solution. Every step made it worse. So what is the root of the problem? It is what your heart is depending on. Binging is not a separate phenomenon. If certain foods seem to trigger the invitation to binge, again, it is not a physiological addiction, but rather a spiritual dependency on these foods for comfort and love. It is not an addiction to sugar or fat, and purging is not some disease or obsession. It is all a consequence of your lust for food. From that perspective, here is the cycle. You have a passion for food rather than God. That passion for food leads to overeating. Overeating leads to overweight. Overweight leads to dieting. Dieting does not address your misplaced passion, and deprivation while on this diet explodes in a binge. The ensuing guilt can take you in two directions. One, you can repent, turn back to God, ask for His help, and simply wait until your body empties again. You may feel too full, and it may take a while before you feel hunger again. But do not worry, you will be fine. You must practice being dependent on God. If you call out to God, He can give you the peace you need and the control feeling you are looking for, with no guilt. In other words, God can make you feel better than purging. I was talking to God last night, as I do before I go to bed, and I told Him that through His strength and power and what He's been doing for me spiritually and physically, I now feel like I seriously have control. And it is a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And as I shared what I am thankful for around the table yesterday, I said that I was very thankful that this battle is over, that God has won this battle, and I don't have to do it anymore. I am very thankful for God and His power and His strength. Without Him, I have none. 2, or you can bypass God, try by your own power to correct the mess you have made, and take the purging route. This second option is obviously never ending because it does not address or uproot the lust for food. The way to end the entire cycle is to transfer your passion for food to passion for God. What the diet industry has done in this country has resulted in years and years of deprivation from man-made rules. The deprivation that I am referring to is of two basic forms. It is either a caloric deprivation, for example, counting calories every day, or food category deprivation. For example, no sugars or fats. Caloric deprivation causes you to starve off the fat until you just cannot take it anymore. You then eat everything in sight. Americans have been known to consume thousands of calories in binges. You know, I had done that. Trying the calorie approach, trying to make sure just to not eat a certain amount of calories. You know, there's more fat on this side than this side. Wow. I guess this side is next. My body's ate up this side of the fat. Now it's going to start eating on this side. It's funny what fat does. Fat develops unevenly in the body, and it's crazy. I used to watch My 600-Pound Life. These people that was so sadly obese, and you could see where the fat developed the most, it being uneven and hideous and making the person struggle to walk and climb stairs and sit, and it was always so very sad for me to see them. But noticing how the fat was always uneven on the body. It couldn't evenly develop so that at least it still made the body look somewhat attractive. It had to unevenly develop. Just like, I've got extra fat right here, but hardly any right here. And also on one of my legs, on the back of my legs, the fat had developed in one clump on the back of one thigh. I don't remember which leg. It's crazy. Fat does not evenly distribute. It's ugly. And I wasn't putting down any of those people who had that. I wasn't putting that down. I was saying how the fat unevenly distributes and makes it hideous. But I have seen the success of those people on that show too, and they look so wonderful when they're done. So yeah, I'm not putting them down by any means. The second area of deprivation that we can address is caused by the prolonged abstinence from certain food groups. Typically, the average rate reduction diet eliminates sweets and fats, and some eliminate all sugars, flour, and so on. This constant refusal to give the body a nutrient it is calling for will ultimately result in a binge. The secret rendezvous at the candy store or bakery, with destruction of the wrapper so no evidence will be found, ends with the ensuing guilty feeling of having cheated and deceived. But the rules you break are man's, not God's, so the resulting guilt is false guilt. You punish yourself with a good long fast, that is, more deprivation, to get the extra calories out of your system. After years of purging, some people seem to automatically throw up after a meal. This is reverse peristalsis. Just don't worry about it. Your body is confused now, but it will settle back down to normal, forward-moving peristalsis. Some of you have spent years in therapy trying to combat the false guilt and to treat your obsessive behavior. Obsessive behavior includes excessive exercise, starvation diets, or consumption of laxatives. Please relax. God can help you through this. Bulimia, or purging, is what I call a second-generation disorder. You saw your mother or father overeat and then tried to solve their problem with a diet sheet. They only got bigger, so you, the next generation, got smart. And she put a question mark in parentheses and said, diets are not really working, so I will throw it up and take a laxative. Or take a laxative. Let me tell you right now that you can be set free from all of that behavior. Let us not band-aid the symptom, though let us go straight to the root. The Ray Down Workshop approach to eating is absolutely the answer to it all. Both generations chose not to eat less food. Here is the way to break the cycle. Stop dieting and starving or purging to fix the binge or any overeating. Replace it with hunger and fullness living. The result will be no deprivation as you wake up today and know that as soon as you get hungry, you will be able to eat. Replace the intensive desire to eat with an intensive desire for God, and the binging will end. As a result, the bulimia will subside. Now that a solution is given, hunger and fullness, purging is no longer necessary, and purging episodes will subside. So you can see the binge is not caused by an addiction to sugar or chocolate. We are emphatically telling you that you can eat whatever your body is calling for, and that you do not have to make the food righteous ever again. Do not be afraid of the fats and sugars. You are not addicted to them. You just want them excessively because you have not been allowed to have them for so long. It is like Eve in the garden. Those foods are forbidden fruit, and as soon as they are put into that category, then they will be exactly what you want the most. By reintroducing yourself to these foods, you will not only learn to eat them with control, but also many of these so-called forbidden fruits will lose their appeal after a while. I'm going to repeat that for those of you who think that you can't eat something. By reintroducing yourself to these foods, you will not only learn to eat them with control, but also many of these so-called forbidden fruits will lose their appeal after a while. And I can attest to that. Seriously, I can. Where before I did seriously crave candies, chocolates, especially gummies. I really like gummies. But it has gotten to the point now that I don't crave them. They have lost their appeal. I can walk through the candy aisle and not even look at the candy. I don't think twice about the candy. You know how these like health videos tells you which aisles to avoid in the store? Guess what? I walk through every aisle. That supposedly is the best aisles not to go through when you're trying to diet. I walk through every one of them, and I have no problem. I can walk through the chips. I don't even look at them. I can walk through the candy. I might glimpse at them here and there, but I'm not even stopping to study them and consider which pack I want. I continue walking. I can go through the cracker aisle that I have always enjoyed eating, the flavored crackers like the Ritz sour cream and onion and all that. Very good, very good. And the thing is, I would eat the entire bag. I could never stop. The Cheez-It crackers, it's got the dual flavors, the rigid ones and the white cheddar with ridges. Awesome flavors. I can walk right through the cracker aisle with all those good flavors. I can walk right by them. Not even stop and consider them. I can walk right by them, no problem. But that's God. That's God. He has took away my desire eating for foods like that. So now if I want something like that, all I have to do is just look for a single serving pack that's on the little displays as you're getting ready to check out and get myself something. I don't need to get me a big bag that's meant to serve about 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 people. You know? It just look for a small single serving pack on the displays as I'm getting ready to check out. And a lot of times I don't even look at the stuff that's on those displays. I go on ahead and check out. I don't think nothing about them. But if I happen to have a taste for something and I'm hungry, I'll go on ahead and pick out something. But it's so very seldom now. It is very, very seldom now. Matter of fact, since I have seriously put my focus on God for this Ray Down plan I'm on, I have only gotten 2 in the few months that I've been doing this. I have only gotten 2 of those miniature bars. This last 30 days is when I'd really put my pedal, you know, my foot to the metal, and totally 100% put my all into this with God. I have only had 1 of those mini bars That's just 100 calories. I've only had one. So, God has taken care of me. And all this, I've still got a lot of this stuff back here for Big Mouth. When I was doing Big Mouth reviews, I've still got a whole lot of this. I haven't even begun to finish any of it up. I nibble on something here or there, and I've still got a lot back here. It is here for if I want it, and if I don't want it, I don't even bother. I'm good. Let's go on ahead before I run out of time. A certain sense of peace comes with knowing that whenever you get hungry, you may have that food. There is a very wonderful peace about it. I have got that peace, seriously, and it's a great feeling. I no longer feel guilt if I happen to eat it. It's wonderful. Again, as we have stated before, your body has incredible biological feedback for variety. Once you have had enough of that one food, you will not want it again for a while. Don't be afraid, however, if that while seems to take longer than you thought it should. You may have literally years of deprivation to erase. Soon you will begin to sense that your body is calling for many other foods, and you can begin to freely eat more of a variety. Okay, tomorrow we'll read Tips for Your Heart. We'll skip phase 2. Let's see. As far as it goes for me, I have got a whole chocolate satin pie in the fridge that my mother-in-law had bought for me because, you know, they eat the pies I don't like. I don't like pecan pie, you know. So, she had asked if there was anything specific I wanted for the Thanksgiving dinner, and I simply said, well, a chocolate mousse pie maybe. Well, they couldn't find a chocolate mousse pie, but they got me a chocolate satin pie, one of those frozen varieties. And I have only had 2 pieces out of it, very thin slivers, about an inch thick, both of them. One was earlier yesterday with my Thanksgiving meal, and then later on in the day when I was hungry again, I just ate me another half-inch wedge, or an inch wide wedge. That's all I've had. 2 inch wide wedges. And the entire pie is mine. It's in the fridge for me to enjoy. And the way I say it, I'm only going to eat it if I want it with my meal. I don't have to have it, you know. Then more than likely I won't want it twice today. I might have it with my meal after a while, or I might not want it until my meal this evening. Who knows? I've even gotten down to the point that I only eat 2 meals a day, and I'm very satisfied. It's the only times I'm hungry. It's just twice a day. I'm fine with that. It used to be that I insisted on having 3 meals a day, and then I didn't care if I ate or not, even if I wasn't hungry. If I wanted something, if my mouth was watering, I'd go on ahead and try to find it or get it or something and enjoy it, even if I wasn't hungry. I was wasting my time is what I was doing, literally wasting my time. So that has changed. And as far as it goes for my husband, he finally got his A1C report. He's down another point. He's down to 7.1. He is on the verge of becoming 7.0. And I'm trusting God his numbers are going to continue coming down. His blood sugar numbers are coming down, and his A1C is now down. When we had seen the nurse practitioner, she had said 7.4, so that makes 3 points down. And, you know, that's God. That is God, because my husband still eats what he has to eat at his work. And he eats pastas here at home, And I like getting the onion rings and the tater tots. And sometimes I'll get French fries. And he eats the onion rings and the tater tots. Sometimes I get the pizza rolls. He'll eat the pizza rolls. He eats whatever he enjoys. And as I'd said before, the only thing he does consume that's diet is diet soda and diet Powerade. Other than that, the foods he eats are normal foods, regular carbs and proteins. And his sugar numbers is coming down, his A1C is coming down. He's healed. But he is doing it through the Ray Down. He's only eating when he's hungry, and he's stopping when he's satisfied. He is doing so much better. Used to, he would eat every hour. He would no sooner consume something, and I would see him fixing himself something half hour later. And now, sometimes I don't see him eat for a whole 4 hours before he finally fixes himself something else. It's amazing what God is doing for him. And he was a very major foodie. Very, very major foodie. So God is truly working on him. And I told him, let's prove these doctors that you are healed. Let's prove it to them that you're fine. I believe with all my heart my husband is healed, and that his A1C is going to continue dropping. His blood sugar is going to continue dropping until it stays in the normal range, and he won't have any more diabetic episodes of a sugar spike or problems with A1C numbers. I'm believing that in the name of Jesus Christ, because he is eating God's way. He's eating God's way. He's eating only when hungry and stopping when satisfied. He is trusting God. He said he no longer has desire eating, that now he's only eating for fuel. Praise God, he is so wonderful. The things that God does for us just because we put our trust in him. So I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving today, and you and your loved ones be thankful for God the Father, his love, and Jesus Christ for his salvation and healing on our bodies, and for the Holy Spirit who gives us guidance and comfort. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.